For my brothers and sisters that you I did it for them. You had 100 billion chances and ways to have avoided today, but you decided to spill my blood. You forced me into a corner and gave me only one option. The decision was yours. Now you have blood on your hands that will never wash off. You sadistic snobs, I may be nothing but a piece of You have vandalized my heart, raped my soul, and torched my conscience. You thought it was one pathetic void life you were extinguishing. Thanks to you, I die, like Jesus Christ, to inspire generations of the weak and the defenseless people. Do you know what it feels like to be spit on your face and have trash shoved down your throat? Do you know what it feels like to dig your own grave? Do you know what it feels like to have your throat slashed from ear to ear? Do you know what it feels like to be torched alive? Do you know what it feels like to be humiliated and be impaled upon on a cross and left to bleed to death for your amusement? You have never felt a single ounce of pain your whole life, yet you want to inject as much misery in our lives as you can, just because you can. You had everything you wanted. Your Mercedes wasn't enough, you brats. Your golden necklaces weren't enough, you snobs. Your trust fund wasn't enough. Your vodka and cognac weren't enough. All your debaucheries weren't enough. Those weren't enough to fulfill your hedonistic needs. You had everything. You just loved crucifying me. You loved inducing cancer in my head, terrorizing my heart, and raping my soul all this time. When the time came, I did it. I had to.
You're seeing police out with their weapons drawn, going through the campus. This is what it's been like all morning, very chaotic, very rushed. Students out, looking, trying to see what's going on, running out of buildings. We have a Montgomery County deputy with a weapon drawn right now that you're seeing. This is what we've been seeing all morning, and it has been a very tense and dangerous situation.
Well,
we've been right next to it.
We might be inclined to point out that the sheriff's deputy is not just carrying a weapon. You are correct in that, but he is also, it's a automatic, looks like an assault rifle.
Obviously very scary pictures that we're now seeing for the first time. This is what we've been hearing has been going on, and it is scary to see that on what should be a calm, quiet Monday morning on campus, a day of just going to classes.
He went down each row very quickly, very purposefully. And I remember thinking, your turn is coming. You're going to get shot. I mean, I didn't realize there was an active shooter, but I knew something bad was happening. He came back to our classroom 3 times, and on the 3rd time, he killed himself in the front of the class. In between each time he was there, you could just hear people crying and coughing, and the cell phone started ringing. When he was in our class, I remember trying not to breathe very much, so he couldn't tell I was alive. Because as my stomach was hitting the chair, I was thinking, you know, he can see me breathing, he can see me alive, and that was very scary. I'll never forget when the SWAT team first broke in at around 9:51. The officer in the front of the classroom said, "We have a lot of blacks in here." And at the time, I couldn't comprehend what he was talking about, but he meant triage codes. And I remember looking into the girl to my right and realizing, you know, what black meant. He looked over me and he said, first he said yellow, and then he changed it immediately and he said red. And that's when I first started panicking. I still couldn't speak. I was shot 3 times, lying on my back. And I remember thinking, what do you see? Like, what can you see on me that I can't, that you would change me from yellow to red? He killed 12 people in my classroom, including our teacher. Your perspective on life and your attitude and your relationships definitely changes after you experience something like this. I noticed very quickly after the shooting, just my outlook on things, my behaviors, my attitudes, what I valued really shifted and has changed dramatically. You're much more grateful for small things in life. You look at people differently. You appreciate traffic a little bit more. because at the end of the day, you get to be there. You get to experience traffic. You get to feel, the frustration of being alive, and that's something that we can never forget to not take for granted.